Okay, thank you very much, and welcome to Personnel Committee, which was rescheduled from January the 10th. I'd like to call the meeting to order, and I need a notice, motion to, I don't know, what do I need to do? I just call it to order, and we will move directly to closed session of committee. Thank you. Okay, do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, thank you very much.
That's right. Put the money on it.
So, welcome back to the Personnel Committee meeting of February the 7th. So we have completed our closed session portion and we are returning to open session, and I just need a mover and a seconder that the Personnel Committee now returns to open session at, what are we at, 6:38? You mover? Councillor Card? Councillor Boyce? Okay, all in favor, thank you. Any disclosure of pecuniary interest and general nature thereof? Hearing none. I need approval of the agenda. Mover? Councillor O'Neill, Councillor Elliott, all in favor? And approval of the minutes. There are none, and there are no delegations or presentations tonight. Is there any public input? Okay. So we have staff report, 24023, so from CAO Clazy.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I really don't have a whole lot more to add to the report. As the committees will remember, at budget time, these three positions were approved, and there was a request to just have some additional information brought back, just in regards to I'm going to say some of the work that those positions would be doing, and that's really all this follow-up report is, and that's why it's there for just to be received as information.
Okay, is there any questions?
I'd like to move the process and get started and hire these three people.
Okay. I believe this is just, the motion is just to receive the report because we've already approved the positions. So,
Perfect.
moving the report, okay.
Yep.
I have a seconder. Councillor O'Neill. Okay, any discussion on the report? Councillor Sharp.
Through you, Madam Chair, to CAO Clazy, with regard to the asset management position, and reviewing this, it seemed to be more about the reporting structure and the gap, you know, almost like we need a manager to supervise two GIS positions. And then it went on further to say, well, you know, we're looking forward to succession planning and so forth, and that the current asset coordinator was very busy and pulled away from those types of duties. So this management position and the asset coordinator position, are they both focused solely on asset management? And what other duties would they be doing, if any?
So, thank you, Madam Chair, through you to Councillor Sharp. So, I think there's two aspects to it, as we mentioned in the report. Sure, part of this position is to, I'm going to say, fill out that management structure within that department, and that was something that we had identified back at the org review time that moving forward, that was something that was needed, and we put our resources at the time into, I'm going to say, that initial asset management position because we had a need there at that point. We've now progressed in moving forward, and we know, so to say, the two aspects, there's the management of that group, but there's also some of the planning, policy work, and I'm going to say more high-level decision-making that would be done by that position as well. And just to note, and I mentioned in the report, we do have a significant amount of data in this organization, and I think this position will help us, I'm going to say, kind of look at that data and analyze it from a point of view where, okay, what are some different things we can do with that data? And then it would be more to the staff and the coordinator position to actually go away and do that work.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Okay, I guess my question is going forward. So this information, I mean, I understand it was, and the reports have written about this is identified back, you know, a couple of years ago in a report. So what's the plan going forward? Because this year we got hit, both last two budget years that I've been sitting at the table. Here's the number. Here's the new employees. Is there not a projection? Is there? obviously the plan from the original consultant's report has changed, but life has also changed. So do we have something that we can see, or can I request that staff give us something before we get heavy into budgets about what the projections are going to be for the staff, new positions for 25 and 26 at a minimum, so that we can at least identify what we have, what our organization looks like, and what it's going to look like, and how we should be forward planning?
Thank you, Madam Chair, and that is definitely something that is on our senior management work plan for this year, is to basically look at what we need for staffing moving forward. We've, as you mentioned, we've pretty much, for the most part, closed the loop on that kind of organizational review that was done a couple years ago. I'd say 95% of that has pretty much been in place, and there's a few things we've tweaked as we move forward just because of things have changed. Now we will be looking at, okay, what are our staffing needs kind of moving forward, and that's where we're at from a senior management point of view. So yes, that's our next step, is to look at that moving forward.
Thank you. So hopefully we'll see that report, like I said, mid-year. Okay, if there's no other comments, I'll take the vote. Oops, sorry, Mayor Harrison, sorry.
Make one more comment that you don't want to hear. I discuss this with our directors regularly, and that's the exposure of the city. And what I'm referring to is the checks and balances that we have in place to make sure that, our bills are paid according to what it is reflecting the actual work done. So in other words, we do the river crossing, we fix the line, when we say it's going to cost $1.6 million, that's what we say, and it comes in at $1.6 million. Was that the actual work done, or was that just like the the hospital the other day? That was embargoed because the minister did not want to disclose how much they were going to spend, because of the fact that contractor A talks to contractor B, and I'll do this and you do this, and we'll make sure that all the money's spent. That's what I keep harping about, and I know that our directors talk about it on a regular basis. Yes, they do, because yeah, I'm like a dog. I don't know enough to stop chewing the bone. So, but I guess I feel that's quite important, and the same today. And we pass a number of policies, and we need to make sure that those policies are actually understood and adhered to. And I know David's got some things that he's going to have to make sure staff are all aware of too. So that's the kind of thing that. Thank you. Sorry.
Okay, no, that's, okay, sorry.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to follow up on the mayor's comments, and just to say, we do have a number of checks and balances, I'm using your term, Mr. Mayor, in place. So, and part of it comes down to our staff being able to do some good budgeting, but I want to assure everybody on council and members of the public, we have lots of checks and balances in place to make sure that when invoices are coming in, there's a proper process and payment and sign off on those. So,
Let's take the vote. All in favor? Thank you. Carried.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. The next report we have is regarding, it's from Richard Anderson, Health Safety and Employee Services Officer. The number of policies that are being brought forward. So I'll turn it over to you, Mr. Anderson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The first one is the health and safety policy for 2024. It is done annually. It goes through committee. Any recommendations and changes are made, and we're looking for council to implement that. The second one is the workplace violence standard. There is a policy statement that goes with that. However, there is a working standard that follows it, and it is HS 41. Basically, it lays out the process. If there is violence, it talks about a scope, there's purposes, et cetera, there's responsibilities. Excuse me, it's all laid out in the standard. And the third one is the workplace harassment and sexual harassment standard. And there's a policy statement for that as well. Once again, very similar to the workplace violence standard. It lays out the purpose, the roles, the responsibilities, and the processes. For example, if we have to do investigations, that type of thing, when they appear. For council, I would like you to implement all three and sign the policy statements for me.
Okay, thank you. Is there any, so first of all, can we get the motion on the floor to approve this? Councillor Kosovo, seconder, Councillor Card. Okay, so any discussion? Councillor Sharp?
Thank you. Through you, Madam Chair, I just want to recognize very important policies and having you, Mr. Richard Anderson, here. These are very, very important policies. And my question is, can you comment at all on the number of, I guess, incidents that you've had to investigate? Can you comment on, I mean, I believe we have a very safe workplace, but can you comment how many we do get or if we have any in the last year?
Through you, Madam Chair, to Councillor Sharp. Off the top of my head, I can't give you an exact figure, but I can tell you this. When these things come forward, we do take them very seriously, and we do conduct those investigations. I do know there has been some with harassment. With workplace violence, I'd have to go back through the records. Off the top of my head, I can't think or remember of one that we've dealt with, other than we do have some people who do come into our facility here or other facilities who do things they shouldn't. They treat our staff, not very nicely, that type of thing. So we do lay notices of trespass against those people, and we work with the bylaw department as well as our group and the Quinte West OPP when we do that. So, yeah, I apologize. I don't have numbers, but yes, we have done some, and so far so good.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? I guess I have a question regarding training. I know when these policies came into effect a few years ago and as the legislation changed, there was a significant training that was done, at least the workplace that I was in. There was, certain codes that were followed or implemented depending on whatever the severity of the incident might be. And I'm just wondering, do we have that type of training that is ongoing with our staff?
Through you, Madam Chair, we do, annually, we do what we call workplace violence surveys. They're done through the departments and conducted through the department director through their various departments. So, for example, bylaw, planning, the outdoor teams, that type of thing. And what we look for are any trends. So, our things do change out there. What do? We move to new facilities. We do risk assessments, that type of thing. We take all of that information and we sit back and we say, do we need to make any changes? That type of thing. So after we do all that, of course, we would sit down. If there's been a change to any of the documents or the standards, we would certainly make sure that staff are made aware of it. As far as training, anytime we hire new staff, we do an orientation with them, and those three pieces are key to our training, because those are the three pieces that keep us safe in this facility. We do refresher training. I'm not going to say we do it annually, but at least biannually with all of our staff. We conduct it here in the council chambers. I hope that answers your question.
Thank you. Yes, it does. Any other questions? Okay, so I'll call the vote on passing these. Okay, so moved. Thank you. Okay, final staff report. 24002 from Lori Coxwell, Director of Human Resources, regarding policy update for criminal background checks for employees.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We have here the updated policy. The original was from 2005, so we're happy to get this one updated. The initial reason we were taking a look at this one first is because it was April of 2023. The way criminal or vulnerable sector checks are managed is no longer right with our detachment here in Quinte West. It now requires that staff, and this applies to our crossing guards who do these checks annually. It also applies to our firefighters and our arena staff as they do backfill for our crossing guards. And when in the past, when we had daycare or day camp staff, it applied to them as well. But in April, they had to start doing this online. So this very quickly became very an administrative challenge for both our staff and the staff being the crossing guards as well, because what was happening is it required you to log onto a computer and update, I think it's a PDF form and that type of thing to get your application in. So it has become a barrier to employment because in the past, the system was that we sent a letter with them to the OPP detachment here, and the city did cover the cost. However, now the employees or potential employees have to pay out of pocket. So it's $41 for them to apply to get their vulnerable sector check. If they do require fingerprints, which does happen, then that is additional, I believe it's $90, $91. And so we have had some of our crossing guard potentials where we've made an offer and they start going through the process, and it is a challenge. Now, it's not that we don't help them out, and we also take them to the library to help them out as well, but we were finding that it was that a different way may exist. So what we did is we looked at what the school boards were doing, and they have a declaration, a fence declaration that they, after the initial vulnerable sector check, they then have the employees sign off every year to say that there has been no change, that the vulnerable sector check that was completed, there's been no change since then. So we are looking to make that change, and therefore you have the new policy in front of you.
So can I get a mover for the resolution? Councillor Armstrong, Councillor Boyce. Okay, any discussion? Okay, no discussion, all in favor? So moved. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, and there is no correspondence for committee decision. Do we have any new or other business that he wants to bring forward? Nothing? Okay, then motion for adjournment at 6:55. Councillor Armstrong. Councillor
Okay, I
Hart.
think I've got to adjourn council. We got to get to, or you're good?
No, Chair Settle is
That's
fine.
it?
Yep, she can.
Okay, thank you. Yep. Okay, so moved.